All righty. Hey, folks. Meteorologist Seth Bohnhoff here on this Sunday evening, covering just a few noisy little storms here that have popped up in the area. As always, here with some of these live streams that we do, just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. Someone in the comments can just let me know here before I get too far into things, and then we'll get rolling here. But in case you're bored watching some basketball tonight, or maybe your bracket's busted, you don't want to think about it anymore, and didn't have anything else to do, we're going to cover some storms for you here this evening, especially for some places down to the south that are probably getting hit pretty good with some hail right now, or at least hearing some pretty loud booming thunder. So that's the kind of stuff that we are going to be tracking here tonight. And this is not a problem for very many of us. It's just kind of the southern half of the area. I got one confirmation says can hear me loud and clear, so we're good to go there. So we'll go ahead and ramp up our coverage here. So we've got a few storms in the area now that have really developed just within the last hour or so. And it's weird because I know probably everyone felt this today. It was so nice and so warm in the middle of the day. Then you felt that front come through. It got super cold. And now the storms are popping up, kind of opposite of how it happens. Usually you get all this cold air to move in, and that's when the storms stop forming. So this is a little backwards here. Took a little while, but this front lifted up that air, and it's all elevated storms. So we're not worried about tornadoes tonight, but we are a little worried about some larger hail within some of these storms. So that's why we're hopping in here and getting you some of your coverage here this evening. So just past 7:30, we do have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings in the area. I'm going to go ahead and drop a little query in here real quick to see the hail that they're warning these for. So they've got $half size hail on that one in Coles County, $half size hail on that one in Effingham County as well. So we're talking upwards of an inch in diameter hail. So still kind of close to that baseline stuff, but a little bigger than just your standard quarter size hailstones. So that's what these storms are being warned for. If we zoom in real good on this Mattoon and Charleston one, for example, you kind of see some of these reds and these pink colors. That's where your kind of most concentrated, heaviest precip is at. It's also probably where your hail is at as well. Same goes for down here in Effingham. You can kind of see some of these pink colors popping up there. One just southwest of Shumway, one right over the top of Watson right now that is producing likely some hail. So best thing to do, check out the Skycams. Those are going to give us a nice look, and we've got storms right over the top of 3 of our Skycams. So we're going to just toss those on here and let you look at those. Not much happening in Danville right now. That one's probably going to be a little inactive, just some lightning there in the distance. But Effingham, you can see the camera rattling around. Nice big lightning there as well. And that storm is kind of between Mattoon and Charleston right now, but you're starting to get some of the effects of it there on both of those cameras. So again, we're in a pretty good spot just to kind of sit here and watch these on some of our Skycams. And if you're here in the live stream, drop a comment where you're at, where you're watching from, and maybe what you're seeing outside right now too, or what you're hearing outside. If you are near some of these storms, there's probably a good amount of thunder and lightning associated with them. So that's pretty much all that's going to happen here with some of these storms tonight. But I know a lot of us maybe kind of started to get some warnings pop on their phone, kind of freaking out thinking, oh, there wasn't supposed to be severe weather today. There really wasn't supposed to be on a very widespread scale. And I'll admit, I'm a little surprised how early some of these storms got going. They were a little bit more into our area than what a lot of models were predicting. That being said, we knew there would be a couple storms. We kind of talked throughout the day. There could be a few of these elevated storms capable of some hail moving into the area tonight. And that's kind of what we're seeing here as things just kind of got going within the last hour, but they have really picked up. These storms just kind of exploded within the last hour or so. And that is exactly where we stand here right now. So let's kind of hone in on one camera in particular here, kind of give us a good view. I'm just going to pick this Effingham camera here, if I can get my camera array rearranged here just real quick. But we're going to zoom in on that Effingham Skycam and just kind of take a look at what's happening there in town with this storm. Kind of the one storm that's right over top of town. We'll get back to that Mattoon and Charleston one here in just a moment. But you can see things picking up a little bit there in Effingham. Like I said, plenty of thunder, plenty of lightning. You're going to have lots of that here with some of these storms. And it's just weird. Like I said, the temperature is, oh boy, probably 50-something down there in Effingham. Doesn't feel like storm caliber air whatsoever. But that's the reality we live in. Weather does kind of whatever it wants to anymore. And there's not too much we can do about it. And that was evidenced with today with those temperatures just dropping like crazy and falling down there into from 80s to wind chills in the 30s. Just absurd stuff here that feels like we have to start getting used to anymore with the way the weather wants to behave. We're going to go ahead and pop up radar here. Got a few new viewers here, so I just want to bring everyone up to speed with what's happening here. Not many of us have to worry about storms. If you're just kind of tuning in, wondering what in the world's going on in Champaign, Springfield, Decatur, even out there in Danville, there's really not much your way. This is all south of there, and nothing's going to pop up behind this. So if you're in those spots, you don't have anything to worry about. Of course, you're still welcome to stay tuned and just kind of watch watch how things pan out south of you. But this is not a problem for many of us. In fact, I want to toss on my box here that will show where the severe thunderstorm watch is. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch in the area for the next few hours, so I'll go ahead and pop that up. You're going to see some counties turn pink here. So we're just talking about Effingham, Jasper, Crawford, Cumberland, Coles, Edgar, and which one I forget? Clark County. So we've got those in effect. Was that till midnight? Is that when they put it? That is yes. Okay, so that's officially until midnight, these severe thunderstorm watches. We're not going to have to stay up watching storms till midnight. This is part of a much bigger watch that carries over into most of Indiana and even out there into Ohio. These watches will get dropped here within the next 90 minutes, 2 hours. Maybe they don't get officially dropped, but our storm threat's not going to last too long here tonight. So don't worry about what time it says your watch is going to end. We've only got storms here for a little bit of time, so definitely nothing to worry about here too deeply. But like I said, you're hearing some rumbles of thunder. You're getting a pretty good storm out there in Effingham, Mattoon, Charleston, even parts of Cumberland County. It looks like you've got yourself a severe thunderstorm warning down that way as well. All right, let's take a look at another Skycam here. Let's see if I can bring up the Mattoon or Charleston one, whichever one gives me a better view here. I'm going to pop on Mattoon first. We'll see what it's doing. That one doesn't look as bad, so let's go to Charleston. This might be just south of our camera. Maybe we're getting a pretty, there we go. So we've got a pretty good view there in Charleston. I'll go ahead and bring that full. So rain's coming down at an okay clip. Looks like we're not quite in the core of this storm just yet, but surely the winds are picking up there, and obviously things are raining at the moment. So again, pretty standard stuff here, but the hail is what's getting these storms warned. In fact, these severe thunderstorm warnings that we have are not even warned for gusts over 50 miles an hour, so that's well below severe criteria. These are watching out for those hailstones that could surpass a quarter in diameter or 1 inch in diameter. So that's the view in Charleston right now. Checking out some of your comments as well. We've got Bonnie saying it hailed south of Mattoon. Jennifer saying hailing out by Lake Sarah. Great stuff, guys. If you are out there and you've got some report to share, we would love to hear it. Hearing from you guys is exactly how we're able to tell what's going on there in the storm sometimes. There we go. Now the storm's really starting to pick up there in Charleston. The rain coming down much heavier rate. You can see the intersection here getting a lot harder to see. Probably a little harder to drive in there as well. So that is going to be a little bit of a problem here. Not too late into our Sunday evening, so still plenty of folks getting out and about. And that's kind of what we tried to emphasize, was that these storms would still be around maybe when you're out wanting to do something tonight. So that's the case here for a few of these folks driving through Charleston here just short of 7:45 on this Sunday evening. So pretty good view of the storm there. Let's head back to Effingham. Check out, whoa, pretty good lightning there right before the camera switched over, and then easing right into another lightning strike there in Effingham. So pretty neat dramatic stuff here with some of these storms. So that is our view in Effingham. Doesn't look like they're getting it quite as bad as what Charleston was. Probably not right over the top of you like it was there on that Charleston camera, but still getting some pretty good rain regardless. And actually, I say that I think this camera is just a little more blocked from what's going on, because let me grab the zoom tool here and we'll zoom in on the pavement, because it's raining at a pretty good clip. We'll zoom in on the parking lot here by some of the lights, and you can see, if we can kind of get the camera a little more in focus, there we go. Rain's kind of coming down sideways in sheets, so it's storming pretty good, even there in Effingham. Like I said, the camera probably just a little more sheltered and not getting the rain right there on the lens. So either way, if you're under a warning, you're probably going to get some really good rain and some frequent thunder and lightning. That's going to be the case here with all of these storms. And we'll pop back up to our radar picture here, even kind of dive into one of our radar products that lets us kind of estimate hail sizes within some of these storms. The defect with that is sometimes it can be a little behind, so it's maybe not getting the real-time hail analysis, but we'll plot it on here in just a moment, and we'll see what it is saying there, what it's kind of guessing here for some of our hail sizes. So I'm going to bring myself back into view here, and we'll kind of do this together. So we've got right here on the Clark and Edgar County line, just south of Grandview, it looks like we got some blue colors starting to pop up. That is going to be over an inch in diameter. If I had to guess, it's probably 1 1/4 or 1.3 or so. So we're talking about just quarter size hail there being picked up by the hail tracker. Sometimes this under guesses it. So I'd have to, say maybe there's 1.5 inch diameter hail out that way. So again, kind of a neat tool that we can use to guesstimate what the hail size is without actually having to be there to compare it to something. Of course, if you are able to safely check out some of the hailstones out there, don't go out there while it's thundering and lightning like crazy. But if you get a chance and grab one, just kind of let us know what size it is wherever you are, or just kind of guess from inside. That's the way to do it sometimes too. Just take a look outside and stay safe and out of the stormy weather there. That's always a good way to do it too. So we'll pop our radar picture back up. We actually have quite a few warnings here right now. We'll count how many. So we've got one over Effingham. We've got one over Cumberland. We've got one here over Coles County. Technically 2, but that one should be expiring here soon. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 warnings, and then a 5th one up there into our Indiana coverage area. I saw someone mention earlier, I think it was asking about Vedersburg out that direction. It looks like anyone that may be tuning in from our Indiana coverage area, you're getting a very similar storm up that way too. Kind of see this red and pink here in the core of the storm. That's also probably quarter size plus hail within that storm. That is very quickly heading out of the area, but I don't want to forget about anyone watching in far western Indiana that tunes in to us for their weather coverage as well. You've got yourself a storm up that way. And I'm going to run things back here a little bit with our radar loop. You can see these storms continue to kind of bubble up, maybe one kind of south and west of Vandalia popping up as well, one east of town there along I-70 starting to bubble up. So we've got plenty of action. This is actually the start of a stormy night for several places south and east of us. That's kind of the question today was, are these storms going to start in the area, or are they going to wait till they're out of the area before they start to bubble up? We got our answer. We could hear our answer outside. I'm sure a lot of us can. So we are seeing it in action here, getting reports from the in-laws that there is some hail in Teutopolis down there in Effingham County. Appreciate you guys tuning in and watching here tonight. I am curious to see if anyone is tuned in from maybe the Charleston area, wants to see maybe what kind of action you got there in town. We had the Skycam there for a moment. Haven't heard anything about hail sizes just yet, but forgetting I have another way of checking that here with our National Weather Service chat. Sometimes they get some reports sent in. So we did have quarter size hail south of Mattoon. Jacob was actually the one who had that report sent into him from a viewer. So quarter size hail, Lake Paradise south of Mattoon. That was at 7:32. So that's been a little bit ago here. Other than that, don't see any official reports being sent into the Weather Service, but we're monitoring that. Also monitoring our chat as well. Another thing I want to throw on here while we're at it, if you're not getting hail, you're getting lots of thunder and lightning. So let's pop up our lightning tracker here, kind of let those bolts populate. It's not the craziest we've ever seen, not like it is in the summer sometimes where you've just got lightning bolts covering up the storm on radar. But there's some pretty good electricity, especially in that one here on the Effingham-Jasper County line and here on the Tri-County line between Coles, Cumberland, and Clark County as well. Lots of counties starting with the letter C, my goodness. Yeah, that's what's happening that way. Some storms a little more packed with some of this electricity than others, but they all kind of look like they're doing their thing. And it's also just very booming thunder. With the way the atmosphere is set up, you might kind of hear this thunder just kind of rattle a little bit more. So even though you're not having as many lightning strikes, the noise probably just feels a little bit louder with the way the atmosphere is set up. So just kind of a neat thing to take away from that. And Paris probably getting a pretty good storm right now. Zooming all the way in. Let's ditch our lightning here. North of Marshall, probably getting some pretty good action. And again, with some of these storms, we watch out for these pink colors. That tells us where the hail core is with a lot of these. So that's kind of where our attention goes most of the time. Cumberland County getting probably hit by some pretty good hail as well. This is north and east of Greenup along 130 there. Probably getting a nice rain out of it too. And if anything, that's what's nice with all of this. We've been talking for the last several days that we're not seeing much rain in the forecast. If you're getting some rain right now, that's going to really help you out. That's some bonus rain we really didn't expect to get a whole lot of. But if you're right there underneath the storm, you can pick up a quick quarter of an inch of some of that rainfall and get away with some rain that, again, we really weren't expecting to have here this evening. So good for you if you're able to get some of that. Let's pop back up the Skycams. We'll put the 4-box camera setup here again and take a look at the places that are getting that are closest to the action. It's probably passed over many of those spots now, but you can see the rain on the lens here. All 4 places that we have. Also a nice, cool, fiery sunset there on the far right side of the Matt Toon camera. Very neat look to some things out there. But yeah, just a little bit of a rumbly, stormy Sunday evening here. It is now 7:48, and we're just tracking a few of these rowdy storms here in central Illinois that are up to a little no good, especially with the hail. We're talking about quarter size plus hail. Again, nothing really to get too worked up or worried about. But like I said, if you're just kind of hearing some noise outside, want to know what's up, that's what's happening. We've got some storms that are producing some impactful hail. Hopefully it doesn't get too much bigger than what it's already been right now. We've kind of only seen $half size hail at the very most, kind of in between that 1 to 2 inch range. And hopefully that's all the more it does. But some of this colder air is leading to some of that. The hail, nothing but frozen water that is allowed to stay up in the core of the thunderstorm for a little bit. So the longer it's up there in the upper atmosphere, kind of up there in that colder air, you're allowed to build up that hail size and bring it down here to the ground as well. Speaking of which, I know we're on here for storm coverage, but I want to bring it up real quick because I know a lot of us are just kind of losing our minds with the way the temperatures were today. So I'm going to show you that just real quick while it's fresh on my mind. I'm going to do the statewide temperatures, and it's just wild what this cold front's doing. Again, we're on the cold side of this cold front. This is a weird setup where you're getting storms now that the air is colder. They're elevated storms. You're not going to get anything near the surface where that cold air is, but that cold air has lifted a lot of that warmer air up above to the point where it can all of a sudden form these thunderstorms. So we're behind the cold front now, 40 in Champaign, 48 in Springfield, 45 Effingham, but still 82 in Carbondale, 80 in Evansville. That's where a lot more of the surface-based fuel for some of these storms is at. But still, again, we're dealing with them here even in 40-degree weather. It's so weird to have thunder and lightning when it's 40-some degrees outside. But like I said, the weather hasn't been making a whole lot of sense lately, and tonight is certainly no different. Just kind of all sorts of weird stuff happening here with the way things have been here in March. Today, I think, was our 5th day of 80-degree temperatures, at least in Champaign. So very strange. We don't have that very often. I think I looked it up earlier. We had 2 days in March last year that had 80-degree temperatures or higher. And between 2013 and 2024, we had 0 total 80-degree days in March. So very, very strange how it's warmed up, but that's also why we're seeing a quicker start to severe weather season here with these storms popping up. All right, back to our active storms. KZ, if you are watching from near the KZ area, hunker down here for a second because you're going to get some intense rain, probably some quarter size plus hail at the very least. That one is about to move right into town there. So anyone out that direction, be ready for the hail to come down at a very nice clip. Also starting to get some of our storm activity to pass over into Jasper County. Doesn't look as bad now. Doesn't look like there's as much of a concern for hail. We're starting to see those pinks disappear, but keeping the orange and red colors around, which means still some heavy rain. We're not going to complain about any sort of heavy rain that can help us stay a little more on the wet side of things and get away from the dry conditions that we've been trying to shake here for a while. Also, just west of Terre Haute, still here in our area, some of the southern parts of Edgar County, northern parts of Clark County. That is the kind of thing we're watching for. This pink color, that may be closer to your $half size hail, maybe getting up to that 2-inch diameter hail. So that's hopefully getting out of the area here before too long. I'll tell you what, these storms have some pretty good speed to them. I think I read they were moving between 50 and 55 miles an hour. So in the next 30 minutes, we might not have anything left here in the area, which is obviously good news. We don't want to keep too much rowdiness around here for too long. And right when I made it sound like everything was all good over there in Jasper County, they extended a warning 2 counties wide out there for Jasper and Crawford County. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out to let the warning box actually show up here. I think it'll do that and not look too clunky. There we go. So this is your new severe thunderstorm warning for Jasper and Crawford counties. This one goes until 8:30 p.m. And let me try that again because that's not telling you exactly what's happening in it. Let's do with warnings attached this time, and we'll try to zoom in and make sure we're not getting too many boxes on here at once. There we go. So our new severe thunderstorm warning, you can read some of the information up here. Wind speed 60 miles an hour, hail size 1¼ inch. So again, little larger than just that quarter size hail, but still not quite to that $50 range, somewhere kind of in between there. So that's what these storms are warned for. They just went ahead and put that warning out there a couple of counties wide because that storm, pretty wide looking one, it's going to move through parts of at least both counties. So may as well warn them all up there all the same and get folks downstream of that ready to go. All right, guys, it is 7:53. And again, like I said, hopefully these storms are about to move out here before too terribly long, already on the southeastern periphery of the area. So this wasn't a big threat in the first place. A lot of people probably tuned in here for a couple minutes, saw that nothing was happening where they are, and tuned right out. And that's absolutely okay because Champaign, Danville, Mattoon and Charleston now, Springfield, Decatur, there's really nothing to worry about. These storms aren't going to affect you, but we had a handful of warnings. Still do have a handful of warnings up here, so just want to make sure those folks are getting the coverage that we like to provide there and keep them in the know of what's happening. Let's jump back onto that hail size again, that hail tracker. So it was a difficult one to find. There we go. So we'll pop that up, kind of see what radar is maybe telling us, some of those hail sizes. And you got to kind of really glance. If you don't know what you're looking for here, it can be kind of hard to find. But these little gray splotches here and there, that's some of those hail size estimates. When it's gray like that, it's less than 1 inch. So again, this thing kind of underestimates sometimes, but gives you a general idea. There's nothing crazy out there, at least being picked up by radar. So good news there. Nothing jumping off the page. Doesn't look like anything that's going to cause too much damage here within some of these storms. So we like to hear that. And same situation out there closer to Fayette County as well. So all good here. And like I said, hopefully things can quiet down here in the next 20 minutes or so as these storms just kind of race on through and do their thing. Checking for any other reports here in our chat and the Weather Service chat. Looks like things are pretty calm, pretty tame here as far as that goes. And it looks like some of our storms are about to outrun their warning boxes. So probably going to get your warning drop for Coles County soon, Cumberland County soon. Now out there into Edgar County. So if you're watching in or outside of Paris, I'm looking at the wrong county here. We're talking about Clark County, not Edgar County. Don't worry about things up there in Edgar County. Looks like they're all good. Clark County in and outside of Marshall, and especially Casey right now, you've got yourself that main core of storms. That's probably going to see a warning extended to the east, if I had to guess here, before too long, as it's about to escape those warnings that it's in right now. Again, that is for Clark County. Edgar County, that storm is about to pass on through. So no worries there, unless you are in the far southeast corner out that direction and closer to the Denison area as well. So these storms really tucked away into the southeastern corner of our area. Maybe a couple more storms trying to bubble just south and west of Effingham County as well. We've got one that's showing some pretty good signs of hail, maybe heading out there in between Mason and Watson before too long. Like we were just saying, the new severe thunderstorm warning has been extended into all of Clark County. That one is valid until, let's take a look. That one is valid until 8:30 as well. So maybe another 20, 30 minutes here with some of these storms. Then we should be pretty much wrapped up and taken care of. But again, if you're in this warning, quarter size hail at least, maybe closer to that 1.5 inch hail, that $50 size hail. Kind of weird saying that sometimes because I know a lot of people don't have $50 always super handy, but it's kind of the next coin in the sequence here. You go to quarters. What's next after the quarter? Well, it's the $50. So just imagine something a little bigger than that. Maybe, again, trying to think of things that are close to a $50 size. Again, just a little bit bigger than a quarter. That's the good way to remember that. So we got lots of warning boxes. But like I said, I think they're going to start to really trim down on these. And if I'm, oh, that's a weird set of warnings out there in Indiana. Just, that's a wide warning. I don't know if I've seen one that wide and thin before. I'm just going to, out of pure curiosity, check out how wide that one is. So you got a 40-mile wide warning out there in parts of Indiana. So just kind of caught my attention there. But they're warning these well out ahead of time just to get folks inside again here on a Sunday night. Maybe there's still some people out, probably too cold to be out doing too much right now. But if you're out there in your vehicle, don't want to get some hailstones dropped on it and caused some damage. That would not be good. That would not be a great way to end what's been a very nice weekend here in central Illinois. We've got Nicholas saying Casey, Illinois just had pea to bean size hail covering our sidewalk. I like that. I feel like I haven't heard bean sized hail used very often, but it's a good comparison. I can imagine exactly what that looks like. So thanks, Nicholas, there. Carrie says pea size hail over there in Wheeler, out there on the western edge of Jasper County. Pea size hail in Bishop Creek, down to the south, closer to Effingham County as well. So again, appreciate your reports. It sounds like if pea-size hail is all that you're getting, you're in pretty good shape, because pea-size hail is not going to do too much. Probably going to hear that on your rooftops pretty good, maybe off the windows as well. But if we keep things pea-sized, we're in pretty good shape. I'm going to see if I can find a Terre Haute camera just for fun here, because that is probably the only camera that gives us an actual view inside one of these storms. And even though it's outside of our area, it's a good indicator of what it might look like inside some of the storms that are still here in our area. So I'm going to fire up that real quick. I know we've got some Terre Haute cameras out here. There we go. So let's pop this one in our feed here. Do channel 2. This one is in town looking north. Can't give you an exact location of where this one is, or maybe I can here in just a moment. Let me get that fired up and we'll zoom in here. So again, this is Terre Haute. There's a severe thunderstorm moving through town there. Let me see if I can zoom in and get you a more approximate location of where that might be in town. This is actually south of town. This looks like it's along the I-70 interchange. So just south of town on 150 there. Again, this is Terre Haute, Indiana. So outside of our area, but it's inside one of the storms right now. It gives you a pretty good idea of what it might look like inside some of these severe warned storms here in central Illinois. So always nice to be able to utilize the weather camera network even outside of central Illinois. We have access to lots of these, and the best way to know what's happening in a storm is having eyes on the ground to look inside it. So probably disrupting travel there a little bit. At the very least, that heavy rain is kind of slowing things down there. You can see the traffic maybe not moving at the pace it's used to moving there, just south of Terre Haute. We've got Joshua here saying nickel-sized hail and Mattoon, south of Mattoon, so nickel-sized hail. Very good, very good. Very good comparisons here from everyone. Love to see it. All right, let's pop back up at radar picture here and just kind of take inventory of where our warnings are at. So it does look like the Weather Service has tidied up these warnings. That's good. That kind of simplifies things. And to be real honest, folks, I don't see needing to be on here for much more than another 15 or 20 minutes. We'll keep the folks in Clark, Crawford, and Jasper counties covered. But these storms have some pretty good pace to them. In fact, let me throw on that one version of the radar that shows you the whole description here. Actually, it's probably not a good idea because I know it doesn't say the speed that it's traveling. So I'll do that for you. These storms are moving east at 45 miles an hour. So not the fastest we've ever seen, but they've got some pretty good pace to them and should be out of our hair here before too terribly long. These warnings are in effect until 8:30 here. So the next 29 minutes. And then hopefully we are all done and taken care of as far as those go. Starting to see a few more of these little tiny popcorn cells popping up here south and west of Effingham County. Not too much to fear with that as well. You kind of see these cells on screen, maybe get a little worried. Again, these are all elevated storms. There's nothing tapping into the surface, but you see these pink colors here. That's what's to be concerned about if you've got a car that's not parked in a garage or some objects outside that don't have any cover on them. When you start to get that 1.5-inch hail, that $half size hail, that's when you can start to get some damage starting to get done. It could really start at any size, but from quarter up is where we get those warnings. Anything above that certainly can cause a little bit of damage. So, and just like that, that southern storm in Effingham County is now warned. So I know I'm thinking maybe mom and dad are watching the stream. If they are, you probably just got a warning. They live just south of Diedrich. So heads up, guys, get ready for some rain and hail. Maybe it'll just go south of them. But mom and dad, if you're watching or listening here, give me a text. Let me know if you are. If not, no biggie. They watch me most nights here on these newscasts. They don't need to watch me here on some of these live streams. Besides the point, we've now got that storm activity really starting to pick up there in both Jasper and in Clark County, and very soon to be Crawford County. Just look here. I'll bring myself back on screen. These storms just kind of becoming a little more, I don't want to say unorganized, but they're not these tiny little cores in the middle that just have that hail or that heavy rain. They've kind of just become these blobs, not very scientific, but they've become these blobs that are bringing a lot of rain with just a little bit of that large hail in them as well. So that is that. Mom and Dad are watching. Thank you guys. Thank goodness. I didn't want to make myself look like a fool there, so I appreciate that. But yeah, just these blobs of storm activity here, ranging all the way from up there in Marshall all the way down here to Newton as well. So yeah, we're picking up. We're getting a little busy down there in those particular areas. Again, this is kind of the stuff to watch for. I'd be curious if there's anybody out here in southern Clark County that maybe is able to see what the hail size looks like, or just kind of able to describe what it looks like outside, because that's probably the spot that's getting the hail at the best. And what I want to do here too, that's the radar image over Terre Haute right now. You can see Terre Haute right here. I'm going to throw you inside the storm again, not actually throw you in, but I'm going to put the Skycam up here and to show you what's happening in Terre Haute. Again, this is what could be happening in any of the storms that have warnings on them here in central Illinois. Only reason I'm showing you this is because this is the only place I have a live camera that I can actually show you. So this is just south of Terre Haute along I-70 looking into town there. And yeah, it's hard to see much of what's going on there. And looks like interstate traffic maybe has slowed down just a little bit. Maybe some folks decided to kind of pull off into the exit here and just kind of hunker down in town while things are getting a little rowdy out that way. So again, this is probably what it looks like in some of these storms back here at home that have those severe thunderstorm warnings on them. That's, again, hopefully we'll be out of our hair here in the next 20 or 30 minutes. But even if they take their time getting out, again, not too much to get worked up about here, but certainly enough to hear, maybe rattle your cage a little bit with some of the frequent lightning as well. I'll tell you what, Terre Haute's getting a pretty good hit here with this one. At least going to get some nice rain out of it, and we'll see what they ultimately end up with there as far as any sort of hail reports out that direction. But some big booming thunder and some bright lightning to go along with all that. So that could be what it looks like where you are. If it is, let us know, and we'll get that report passed along here. All right, checking out our weather service chats here. We'll go ahead and pop back the radar picture, talk over what we're seeing. Newton had hail that was reported to be ping pong ball size. I could see the image, maybe just a tad smaller than ping pong, but maybe that 1.5 inch size hail. That was in Newton at 7:57. So it was about 8 minutes ago. So that is probably associated with this pink core here that you're seeing here with some of these storms. So maybe 1.5 inch in diameter hail now exiting east of Newton, soon on its way to Oblong, Robinson, and places of that sort out there in Crawford County. And we also had a report of quarter-size hail in Altamont. I don't have a time on that one, but that was submitted at 8:04. So that could be, I have my locations right here. Was that this storm, or is it a little south of there? It could be the storm. That very well could be a report from south of Altamont. So maybe up to quarter-size hail in that storm, perhaps a little bit more than that, if that's where, if that's the storm that report originated from. And then not to be forgotten, even though I haven't heard anything official yet out of Clark County, there was some pretty good rain and probably some severe size hail embedded within the core of that storm. Again, you can see the pink showing up here on radar. That's exactly where the greatest returns are on reflectivity. That equates to either really heavy rain or a large object such as hail. Newest scan maybe has flattened that signature just a little bit. But there's still plenty of it within some of these storms. And this one in southern Effingham County, now between Mason and Eberly, about to move through Elliottstown. Again, I know Mom and Dad are watching. This one might go just south of you, but you're going to have lots of thunder and lightning to go along with it. So pop up the lightning there. You can see just a few strikes, nothing too frequent there. Maybe just, was that 6 total strikes since the storm has been around here within the last little bit. So watching out for that. And of course, plenty of lightning within these storms that are still in our area, still bothering us, still in our hair there, and giving us maybe just a few issues in parts of Jasper, Crawford, and Clark counties. We got Tyler Repking here, T-Rep as we call him, pea-size hail in Bishop. Thank you, Tyler, for passing that along. And that is the most recent report we have. Again, we are now down to, I shouldn't say down to, we are now at 8 minutes past 8 o'clock here on this Sunday evening as we just kind of babysit some of these storms that are making some noise, doing their thing here in the far southern reaches of our area. Hoping to get these done and out of here before too long, and we will be on our merry way with some colder temperatures to start the week. But I don't know. It's hard to beat the conditions we had this week, and I know it's led to a little bit of the storm action. But if you were to offer a trade to me, and it was 2 days of 80-degree weather, and you have storms like these for a little bit, again, hope nothing's happening out there. Hope no one's getting any sort of damage with this hail. But that was a super nice weekend in March. We don't get those very often. So not too bad here when it's all said and done, even if there's just a couple of storms to result from this. But like I said, hopefully everything's behaving. Hopefully there's no damage to be reported. Hopefully we're just seeing these hailstones that are just innocently bouncing around in the yard, not doing any sort of damage to any of your property, because we definitely do not want to hear anything about that. Just because, again, we care for you guys. Don't want anything to get damaged there with that. All right, this big blob, as I've been calling it, I guess that's the scientific term for the night, now along the Jasper and Crawford County line, oblong, next in line. You're probably getting yourself a pretty thunderous storm with lots of heavy rain in there, and probably pretty frequent lightning as well. And again, if anyone's tuning in here to check out the coverage, wondering what in the world's going on, nothing's happening outside, that's probably true for a lot of you if you're tuning in anywhere where you don't see some of these warnings. We're not expecting much for the rest of the night once this line of storms move on through. So if you're anywhere north and west of this, you got nothing to worry about. We're just watching these storms that are producing some of this hail here, and hopefully soon getting outside of our area. Let's see if I can wheel the Effingham camera around. Maybe we can at least watch some lightning from that one. Although that storm's not producing a ton in the way of lightning, might still be something to see here. I like to use those Skycams whenever we get a chance to, just because that's the best way to, again, see what's happening inside some of these storms. So I'm going to wheel that around here, and I'll pop it up when that is done, so that way you don't get a headache watching this thing swivel around. Okay, so let's get that back in place. There we go. So we'll pop that on, and it would help if I get that scene loaded here behind me. So I'll throw that up, and we're now looking from the St. Anthony Hospital here in Effingham to the south. There we go. We got some nice lightning there in the distance for those storms in the south and eastern corner of the area, or south and eastern corner of Effingham County, I should say, as those just kind of innocently pass on by to the south and east of town here. But maybe we'll be able to watch a little bit of a light show here in the distance as those storms are doing their thing. All right. Now I got a warning out in Clay County. That's outside of our area. But if anyone is tuning in from that direction, again, Clay County, severe thunderstorm warning for the same caliber of storm that we've been getting here all night long, or all evening long, I should say. To be real honest, once these storms move out of Crawford County, where they are right now, we'll just have a few of these little popcorn storms brushing up against the area, and that's pretty much it. Again, I don't foresee staying on the stream for much longer than 15 minutes or so. This was only just kind of more of a heads up to some people, because we knew there'd be nothing too crazy impactful out of tonight, but definitely didn't want people to get caught off guard with how nice it was today to get storms when it's 40 degrees out again. That's a very weird thing. Probably not a lot of people were kind of in on that. And to be honest, like I said, models weren't really suggesting there was going to be a lot of these storms here today, but we knew there would be that chance. Hopefully you were able to hear about that before now, but if not, that's exactly why we're here to cover some of these storms. So we're centered in on Crawford County right now. If we loop the storms, we'll see these won't take too long to pass through the county, but they are just beginning their journey there into Crawford County. Oblong probably already took the biggest hit, and down there in the southwestern corner of the Crawford County areas where you're getting the hardest storm. That was out there closer to where that tornado was, the high-end EF1 tornado was back in February. So kind of that same area getting the core of this next storm. Thankfully, this one much more tame, but probably bringing some pretty heavy rain and a little bit of that hail in there as well, where you see some of that pink. So keeping track of that. And to be honest, not much else. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch that will, it's supposed to stay in effect till midnight. I doubt it does because we're only going to have to worry about storms for maybe the next 20 minutes here. So if that's the case, they'll probably start dropping some of these watch boxes. But you could officially be in a watch here for maybe the next hour or so. And then I wouldn't foresee those hanging around too much longer. Let's see here. I've got a picture from emergency managers in Jasper County. I will not be able to show this one here. It's on my other computer, but it's got what looks like maybe a little larger than pea-size hail, just kind of scattered around. Almost looks like a little bit of snow. So nothing crazy large in that particular image there from Jasper County, but still dotting the yard a little bit. And if you've got some of that metal roofing, that's definitely when you're able to tell the easiest that there is some hail pitter-pattering on the rooftops there. So that is what's happening there. And yeah, so it is 8:14, so we're just about at quarter past the hour here. Like I said, folks, maybe going to give this another 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll probably wrap things up here. For anyone curious about some of our newscast tonight, or when you might hear from us again, there was some basketball action on the network today, so our newscast is pushed back. We'll be still after 10:30, probably closer to 10:45 before our, quote, 10 p.m. newscast starts. But again, if you want to know what's happening here with the weather, 9 o'clock on X49 is where to find us. And here before too long, we're going to close up shop and start getting ready for that. But just want to make sure these storms, you're aware of them and what they're about to do. And it looks like another large warning has been added to southwest Indiana as they anticipate this storm in Crawford County to continue onward, maybe even develop a little bit more there on the south end of things and bring that hail threat with it. That one also warned for hail. That one's just quarter-size hail, so I think that's a slight downgrade. Yes, we have half-dollar size hail as our warning here in Crawford County. So, again, not too much to worry about as far as that goes. And once that storm is out of here, I don't anticipate this stuff behind it really leading to too much other than, again, sub-severe hail, maybe pea-size hail, something like that. So, again, tonight was never really a night to worry about too much, but figured I'd hop on there, especially with however many warnings we had on the board there for a brief period of time, maybe up to 4 or 5 different severe thunderstorm warnings. Lots of buzzing on the phone, lots of alerts going off. So just want to make sure that you had a source you could go to in order to see what was going on inside those storms before they got to where you were. And hopefully we were able to do that for you here tonight. And Robinson probably taking a good hit from this storm right now. And like I said, south of Robinson, that's probably where things are the most active, just east of Hardinville right now. In fact, I'm going to freeze this. You can even see the faintest bit of white starting to pop up here into this radar picture, which would suggest some pretty good size hail. And I'm going to see if I can pop on that hail size tracker. Again, likes to underestimate the size, but always helpful to look inside and see when we have no other way of being able to tell. So just kind of this broad gray. That's going to be well short of that 1-inch size hail, but it's telling you there's a pretty wide swath of it. That's a pretty big, we use the word blob again, pretty big blob of hail, or at least swath where hail is falling just south and east of Oblong, again, kind of out there in the Hardinville area. I believe Flat Rock is out this direction as well. Maybe it won't pop up on the map, but we know exactly where that is there in Crawford County. Let's return our radar picture back to the home screen here, we'll call it. And there we are. So once this storm gets through Crawford County, again, we'll wrap up shop, be out of your hair here. And so will the storms. Storms will be out of our hair too. And that's what we want. We'll gladly take the rain, but all the other nonsense, no thank you. No hail, no wind, nothing. We can do without that. Karen reports pea-size hail south and east of Charleston. That was probably from earlier because things have cleared up pretty good up this way. But again, appreciate the reports. Plenty of hail here packed within these storms. And that's the only reason these storms are warned at all is for that hail size, because winds aren't strong enough to prompt a warning. We don't have surface-based storms. You're not going to get a tornado here in the area out of these. But that hail kind of thrives in that elevated environment where things are colder. Winds are able to support the hail up in that storm for a little bit longer. And thus why we have these warnings. If I had to guess, Jasper County, Effingham County, your warnings will probably drop here before too long. Don't think this cell south of Elliottstown and Diedrich is going to be enough to continue a warning. So they'll probably cancel those a little bit early. If I had to guess, again, I don't have the authority to issue these, but if I was a guessing man, I'd say that's probably what will happen here soon. If not, they'll be allowed to expire at 8:30 as originally planned. Checking out the weather service chat to see if there's any other new info to be passed along. And it looks like there is not, which is not a bad thing because that means we are about to get out of here relatively unscathed here with some of these storms. Whoops. Get rid of that box that I just randomly drew there. Again, thank you, folks. If you're tuning in to some of this coverage tonight, I know there's not a ton of us out here because these storms aren't impacting very many of us at all. But tuning in, letting us know where you're from, what you were seeing out there. We always appreciate that. And it helps, of course, everyone else who is watching the stream because they get to know what's in store down the line ahead of them as these storms march on through. And in the end, everybody's able to benefit from this and walk away without too many problems. Again, south of Robinson, getting hit pretty good. And I'll have to check that hail tracker again here in a moment because I'd have to think this is going to ramp up here a little bit because a pink strip that wide is probably doing a little bit of work there as far as producing some hail size. Oh, let's see here. I got another radar here on my other computer. I like to keep track of it. Sometimes takes a crack at what the hail size might be as well. But it's let me down. It's not getting anything on there. Let's see. Let's go ahead and pop that hail tracker back on here real quick. Might be one of the last things we do here. There we go. So we're starting to see a little bit more of that white color popping on, which is approaching that 1-inch size, probably closer to nickel-sized hail there. So just short of that 3/4 of an inch mark. But again, that likes to underestimate it, so probably close to that quarter size hail or that 1-inch hail south of Robinson. Well, let's see here. Another warning has been issued. Let me see where that's for. So this one's for Crawford County. Okay, so it's the southern appendage of the same storm. So it's kind of just the far southern reaches here. We're getting alert for counties in our area whenever there's a warning, but that one a little misleading because that one's heading south and east of Crawford County. So nothing really too new to be added to our concerns here. There goes your storm moving right through Robinson. Probably didn't get the brunt of it, but south of there probably did with those pink colors. Soon to cross over into Indiana here. And as it does so, that's going to be the end of our threat tonight. This threat won't have lasted very long, maybe 90 minutes or so. We don't mind whenever it likes to get out of here in a hurry because we don't want it around here. We don't want these severe storms. And we always appreciate it whenever it does not spend too much time here in the area. Okay, clock is about to strike 8:22. And this storm is about to move out. I shouldn't say that because it's right over the middle of Crawford County right now, but this one's about to move out of our area, and we will be wrapping up here before too long. Plenty of lightning within the storm, so even though Robinson's not taking a direct hit from the core, they're probably hearing all the thunder, seeing all the lightning there in the distance as this storm marches on, brings lots of rain. Another blob, we'll call it there. Moving on through Crawford County. Okay. It looks like our reports have started to grind to a halt here, too. Not a bad thing. That means everything's behaving itself, and we won't have to worry about too much here for very long. Only thing we'll have to worry about for the rest of the night is this. Let me pop this up here real quick. 27-degree low temperature. How about that? Some of you were in the 80s today. Some of you were well into the 80s today. And now it's going to be 27 degrees tonight. So no fun there at all. And just for fun, let's see what the wind chill is going to be. Let's throw that on here. What a great way to wrap up things, right? Looking at the wind chill on a day where it was 87 degrees. So pop that on there. Ooh, those blue colors. No fun. Wind chill into the teens tomorrow morning. No fun. Boo. These strong cold fronts just, it's crazy what they can do. And it's crazy what they have done to us this year. This is like the sixth time that a front has dropped the temperature by like 40 degrees and made it feel like winter the next day. Good thing is cold temperatures aren't going to last very long here at all, just a couple of days. And that's only into the nighttime. It's still going to be 50 degrees tomorrow for your high. So nothing to worry about there. But just another thing that's hard to believe with the way the temperatures have been so warm here lately that you can just drop off into the 20s like that. No fun. No fun for anyone involved. All righty, folks. This storm is about to pass on through Crawford County. And it looks like whatever little bit is left there is going to pass over here into Indiana soon. Not hearing too much trouble from that storm. And it looks like we're not going to have too much more to deal with here in the area. So with that all in mind, we'll keep an eye out on things down that direction. But I think we have outlived the need for a stream here because these storms effectively out of the area. So if you join me tonight, whether you wanted to know what was going on or you were just bored and curious, we're glad you were able to tune in, and we appreciate it. And again, I'll see you again later tonight at 9 o'clock on X49, closer to 10:45 on Channel 3.